All right, welcome back, students, to our coverage of U.S. history. Before your little break, we were covering the Great Depression and FDR's response in creating the New Deal. So today's going to be that last day of content coverage. We're going to be focusing in on how FDR tried to kind of directly reach out to the American people. We talked about how the Great Depression brought about a lot of fear, a lot of distrust, a lot of angst in society. So FDR is going to try to reach out directly to the people to try to kind of improve those emotions. All right, so our aim for today, how can we analyze the messages and impact of FDR's Fireside Chat? So the Fireside Chats is the key kind of concept we're going to be looking into today. And we're analyzing the messages of these chats and also the impact of these chats. So we're going to be looking into a little bit of a cause and effect relationship here while looking at these messages and the impact of these Fireside Chats. So for our do now, what's one argument in favor and what's one argument against the New Deal? All right. As we talked about in our coverage of the New Deal, a lot of those programs are focusing on providing people with help. You see the CWA, the AAA, these various agencies and programs that are set up that are trying to put Americans back to work. A lot of these programs focus on Americans building roads, bridges, tunnels, dams. LaGuardia Airport's even built as a result of these programs. And it's trying to help Americans earn a paycheck, lower that unemployment rate, but it's also building infrastructure that's going to help the country in the long run. Okay, one of the major arguments we see against the New Deal is the cost. All right, these programs are not cheap. The government is spending lots and lots of money to support these New Deal programs. And a lot of people in society question if this is the right use of funds for the government in this time of economic depression. So you see there's various perspectives on the New Deal. Right? A lot of times people hold the New Deal up as a complete success, when in reality there are a lot of flaws, there are a lot of problems with it. And one major argument against it is the costs of this program. Okay. Moving on to our fast facts for today. All right. First fast fact, the Great Depression began in 1929 with the stock market crash, overproduction, credit, buying stocks on margin, and uneven distribution of wealth led to this event. Remember, it's not one factor that leads to the depression. We see a variety of causes. The stock market crash is kind of the catalyst, that tipping point, but there's various things in the 1920s. There's various kind of consumer habits in the 1920s that lead to these problems. In response to the onset of the Great Depression, Hoover urged individuals and charities to work together to fix the economic problems the country was facing. All right. Remember, when we talk about Hoover, he does not want to involve the government in this support of individuals dealing with the Great Depression. He calls on charities, he calls on the Red Cross, calls on churches, religious groups to help people out who are struggling. People don't like this. All right, people are angry with Hoover. We see those construction of Hoovervilles kind of poking fun of him. We see the Bonus Army March, his handling of that, once again, does not make Americans confident in his leadership. And a lot of people really blame Hoover for the kind of deepening problems of the Depression in the early 1930s. All right, Hoover loses that election in 1932. FDR is elected in, and he institutes that New Deal. Okay, he's going to create a new deal for Americans. He's going to kind of restart the American approach to this depression. All right, reminder, the New Deal was a series of government-led programs. It's trying to provide support to citizens through the Great Depression. All right, remember, a lot of what the New Deal is dealing with is getting people back to work. Okay, so the New Deal is trying to get people back to work, covers those 3 R's: relief, recovery, reform. And now we arrive at really what our focus is today. Okay, so to assist in spreading his message and provide inspiration to the American people, FDR used these fireside chats to interact with citizens. So all the fireside chats was an opportunity for FDR to address the people of America. He presented his ideas, his policies, his programs in the New Deal in these radio addresses. Americans sitting at home tuned in. They learned about what the New Deal was attempting to do. They learned about these programs. And as much as it was FDR trying to inform Americans about the New Deal, it's just as much about trying to make Americans feel better about the future in America. Okay, so there's kind of a duality to these fireside chats. All right, so what you guys are going to be working on today, all right, and you'll see this on your handout. All right, we're starting off with a graph, okay, and remember our strategies when dealing with a source. Let's look at the title first. Okay, so we see this is telling you the number of households with radios. The horizontal axis, we have the years. And then the vertical axis, it's a little tough to see. It says households with radios in millions. So for example, where it says 1.2, that's saying 1.2 million homes. Okay, so at this point now you're gonna transition to working through these analysis questions that are in your document. You have the graph provided to you as well. Remember, turn the question into a sentence starter. Refer to the data, pull out what's useful, answer the question. Finally, when you are done with these questions, okay, you're going to be sliding into this Fireside Chats primary source document analysis chart. Okay, so you'll see there's a topic that's going to be addressed. So the first topic's unemployment. The second topic is the banking crisis. If you continue scrolling down, you'll see you have information for those sections. So the first page gives you information about unemployment, and then a fireside chats about unemployment. So this is FDR himself speaking about this problem. Okay, the following page, once again, addresses bank suspensions, and then FDR speaking about this problem. So you have the source material, you have the resources to complete this task. Let's make sure we're being detailed in our answers. We're summarizing the main problems initially, identifying and discussing FDR's solution and plan of action, and then how could his words build on confidence? Focus on the language. Okay, so you guys are going to be working independently now through this activity. Please make sure when you're done, you're turning it in. I know it doesn't show it on my screen here, but let's turn in this document. That way you get your classwork credit, I get alerted, and I can grade it and give you some feedback. All right, if you guys have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me. I'll see you guys soon.